to help performance. And your goal at the end of the day is to improve performance, improve body composition if that's it, or correct the balance in nature. And then obviously, you medically screen everybody when they come in, what type of age they are, and then really break it down to what position they're playing on their sport. Okay, this is a bit more for the layman. When someone comes into you, we get a lot of taxi drivers, people that are in the car for a very long time. What sort of posture are they in habitually for a very long time? What can we do to improve that? Can we go into their car? Can we adjust their car seat? Can we adjust their position when they're walking, their posture, their ergonomics in the workplace? What can we do to improve their occupational demands? I was lucky enough to do an internship with Stu McGill. For those of you who don't know Stu McGill, he's probably the biggest researcher in low back pain. And he explained to me that he did a seminar in New York with a group of doctors on how to assess the lower back. And basically they're all in a room like this, and two patients were waiting in the waiting room. So Stu said, I like to greet all the people that I see to assess them. So the group of doctors followed them out to the waiting room. He met the client, he walked in, brought them into the waiting room, brought them into the reception room, and they sat down. And the doctors were like, okay, what sort of assessment are you going to do? Are you going to do rotation, hip flexor stretch, Thomas test? What are you going to do exactly? He says, my test is done. I went to see her, she's been sitting down, I've seen her stand up, I've seen her walk, I've seen her open the door, I've seen her come into the room, and I've seen her sit down. So what he's doing is he's assessing people's posture, what they're doing multiple times a day. And by seeing someone's gait, by seeing someone's seated posture, and seeing how they get out of the chair, you can see what they're habitually doing to their spine all the time. And from that you can get a lot of information. If you have clients that are sitting down during the day for 8, 6, 7 hours, if they're in a bad posture position, if they're on a keyboard here or a phone here, you can sort of make recommendations to improve that. You only really maybe have 3 hours a week, 4 hours a week with that client. You're not going to offset that repetitive nature that they're going to be doing 5 days a week in their office. So see if you can assess if there's something underlying that you can improve. Also, find out what type of leisure activities they're doing. If they're outside playing golf, outside playing football, or doing something repetitive. I have a client, he's a software engineer, and every time he's in the gym, he has niggles all the time. And I kept asking him, are you doing nothing different? Are you doing nothing different? Are you doing nothing different? He worked for Citrix, it's a computer software company. But they got a table tennis in their staff room. So every lunch break, for the whole of the lunch break, he's playing table tennis. And he gets quite aggressive, so he's jumping all over the place. His wrist, his shoulder, his lower back are in bits. Why? He's sitting down on the computer for 4 hours a day. He goes down for a lunch break and he's walloping a ping pong ball, like Forrest Gump ball over the place. So it's quite an aggressive change from the posture that he's been in. So again, if you assess the leisure activities, you can see it as something you can change. Sometimes you have to change it, sometimes you won't. But it's important to be aware of it. And then also in the very end, then, their medical history. So we all heard about this before, the SAID principle? Yeah? No? Anyone know what it stands for?
Specific adaptations to impose demands.
Okay, nice and lovely. Specific adaptation to impose demands. Okay? One of the things I say is you ask a clear question, you get a clear answer. Fairly straightforward. You ask the body to adapt to something, the body will respond. But if you ask it multiple questions, it may not respond correctly enough. So I use the analogy of asking my girlfriend a question. She never answers the question. She gives me the bloody story, right? Yes or no? No, no, no. The whole hullabaloo story. Straightforward question, straightforward answer. Alright, so when you write a program, is your program asking you, that person, to adapt a certain way? Recently I had a consultation with a trainer, and he wanted to put a program in place for a soccer player. It's called a 6-12-25 program. Anyone here done it before? Yeah, no, I remember it, yeah. Horrible program. On a 6-12-25 program, you do 6 repetitions, 0 break, 10 seconds, move to another exercise, same muscle group, 12 repetitions, 10 seconds break, move to 25 repetition exercise with the same muscle group. Now, what he tried to explain to me was, he's going to develop relative strength for his 6 reps, he's going to get hypertrophy for 12 reps, and he's going to get strength endurance for 25 reps. Do you think that's going to happen in that program? For those of you guys that have done the program, you realise the only thing you get good at is the 25 reps. You get good at the lactic acid tolerance. That's the only thing you're going to get good at, the local muscular endurance. So by doing 6, 12, 25, you look at it on paper, you might think, oh yeah, he's got a heavy load for 6, a medium load for 12, and a light load for 25. He's hitting all the aspects. That's not the way it works. You take your break, You go back and repeat that again, your weights have plummeted right down. So again, that program, it may look like it's a relative strength compared to the strength endurance program, but it's not. It's a strength endurance program. So when you put a program together, or you have a new person come in, particularly with corrective exercise, where do you think the rep range you will pretty much stay in your corrective exercise? What sort of rep range do you give your clients for corrective exercise? Nobody writes corrective exercise programs.
12 to 15.
12 to 15. Why would you give them more repetitions rather than less? If you start off with a low repetition bracket, if someone has a structural imbalance or maybe a postural problem and you want to do an external rotation exercise or you want to do a scapular traction, are you going to put 100% on and ask to do 1 rep? When you start off with a beginner, you're going to have a lot of neural adaptation. You're going to get intra-muscular coordination and inter-muscular coordination. Basically what's going to happen is that muscle itself gets better able to do the activity and the muscles around the joint help to synchronize and switch on that bit better. So the neural system gets that bit better doing the exercise. So maybe you come in and you ask the person to do 12 repetitions. The chances of them lifting 67% straight off the bat is not going to happen. They're going to lift maybe about 50%. They get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And the more confident and the more coordinated they become with the movement, the more the actual percentage will vary off with the repetition. And one thing we try to do in the gym is we always give a repetition bracket. We never give a repetition number. Do you know why that is? I'll say no now. The reason why we don't give a specific number is there's no way in hell I can say to that person, I want to give 12 repetitions and let's pick 8 kgs. I'm not that good at being assess the weight straight off the bat. What's going to happen is how that person performs the repetition, how they hit the repetition bracket will dictate what weight they increase. So let's say for instance the person with an external rotation at 10 kg. And I've asked them to do 12 repetitions. They do it no problem. What do? I increase the load. He goes to 11 kg. He does 12 repetitions. I'll go up again. If the person can already perform 10 kgs for 12 repetitions, he's already sufficiently strong enough at that weight. We need to test the body. We need to employ the overload principle. So always ask them that little bit more of the body. So if someone can do 12 repetitions with that weight, they're already that strong. So you need to challenge them that bit more. Ideally, I'm looking for around 11 or 12 reps under struggle with good technique. But if you don't ask any more of the body isn't going to respond. That's why we make a rule that every time we give someone a program, they must fill it in when they come back. Now, if somebody comes in and we've given them, let's say, 10 sets of bench press for 10 reps, and they write in 80, 10 reps, 80, 10 reps, 80, 10 reps, 80, 10 reps. Second week, 80, 10 reps, 80, 10 reps. That's not an overload. That's the same stimulus all the time. The body is not going to respond to that. The body may get better able to do multiple sets at 80 kg, but it's not going to be able to lift any more than 80 kg. So you're always going to have to challenge the body that bit more. Do you get that? Because a lot of people don't give repetition brackets and don't challenge the person. So it's very important that you specific the percentage we can never guess. And to be honest with you, that's going to change all the time. So the stronger they get at 10 repetitions, the next program we might wait to 8, next program we might wait to 15. We're going to fluctuate in the programs all the time to ask the people to respond to it. But if you don't put a bit more weight on, change the exercise angle, change the sequence, you're not going to challenge the person. And that's what we want to do on a constant basis. Change the person. This bracket here, again, based on research, about 0.5 to 2% off per person. There's no exact number. It's not exactly 6 repetitions, 85%. That's not the way it works for everybody. And the more you train people, the more you test and the more you find it. My training partner doesn't lift a lot of weight. Well, he lifts okay weights. But the minute you take a little bit of weight off, he can rep out all day. He just has that repetition. That's his makeup. He can do loads of reps at it. But anytime I get an opportunity, I prefer to do lower reps with him rather than higher reps because he kicks my ass all the time. Okay, we've seen this before, the period of delayed transformation. So what it basically says is during this period the body is adapting to the stress placed upon it during the last cycle. So the program that you've just done, the body's responding to it. Where was it? Yeah. The last cycle, recovering from the training stress and adapting above the previous levels. The body's actually getting a bit better than where it was. The body requires 2 to 6 weeks to illustrate the adaptation, with 4 weeks being the average. This is subject to the correct stress modification during the next training cycle. So why I put that up for, if I'm doing a program for 1 month And the goal of that program is